a door opening here that someone took the doors off, and I bought these nice wood doors that I'm going to put on. But you can see they used to have bifold doors up here, which is obviously a no-no for a bedroom. This is a bedroom. So the existing hinges, or actually the existing slots for the hinges were here. They're 3.5 inch. So I went ahead and went to Lowe's and basically bought a 3.5 inch. That's about $4. And I'm gonna screw them in. I'm gonna screw those in. And then the other thing we need to do is cut our hinge openings here. I don't have a router with me, so I'm gonna use a chisel, but it's real easy to do, hopefully. The most important thing is just making sure everything lines up. So in this case, I already did this door. So came out really good. I'm gonna put my door handles in here, and there's a slot up here because it's a double door, so you can have your door stay there. Or I might move it to this side, haven't decided. The other thing is, this is my first trial on attaching this door, and you can see it's binding a little bit here, so I might have to move this molding up maybe 1/4 inch because it's not closing all the way. If I push the door in just 1 millimeter, it closes perfectly, so no big deal there. I might have to move the molding or just sand it a little bit. Screw these in, and then I'm going to take the pin out here, so I'll have this side as a template.
Okay, so what I did is I took this door, lined it up with the hinge that I already mounted to figure out where this hinge should go. You can see my 2 markings, that's top and bottom. So I'm going to use my hinge as a template. I'm going to line it up with my markings here. And for the most part, you're going to want to be about 1/8 of an inch or so from the edge here. That's pretty standard when you're working with hinges and doors. Line up your marks. Make sure everything's parallel. And then I like to use a pen or pencil, trace it. So now you have this outline. And the last thing you want to do is start trying to chisel that outline. So what you want to do is take a utility knife, score that section so you create a line. That way when you chisel, you'll stop at that new line you created. Doesn't have to be exact either. So what I like to do is line up the flat edge with my scored edge. And I start from there. So you don't want to go too deep, otherwise your hinge is going to sit too far down. Chiseling is kind of
An acquired thing. Angling the chisel one way or another can increase or reduce the depth. See how it stopped right there instead of splitting on the end. You don't want that splitting. So basically you're gonna go back and forth and work this in to get to the required depth, which is not very deep. So there we go. I'm gonna work it a little bit more, but you can also use the chisel kind of to smooth out the ends and stuff. Another thing I like to do is kind of make sure that's in line, rescore that. So I like to work it. It takes a little while, but once you get it done, it should work very well. Okay. Now that we have the wood skived out for the hinge, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 holes, pilot holes, for my screws. And then I'm going to screw in 2 screws to hold the hinge, and then we're going to do a trial run. The reason I'm not putting 3 in is if I'm off slightly, I don't want to make my board look like Swiss cheese and then run out of meat to attach my screws to. So I'm doing 1 at a time, or in this case 2 at a time, to make sure I get it right. So I'm going to go over here and fit it on the door, and hopefully it lines up with the hinge on the door jamb. Okay, we fit the door on. Gaps are pretty much the same all the way around, even up and down. So what I'm going to do next is probably drill out for doorknobs. These were actually slider doors for, I think it might have been a closet. But I'm going to drill these out, probably put a dummy handle here and a functional one here. And then, like I mentioned before, I might remove this and put it over here just because. Okay, now we're going to install our door handle. It's a bedroom locking set, pretty standard. So we're gonna have to drill a hole. In this case we have a Craftsman, and this basically helps you align the hole you need to drill. So it slides over, and this hole basically is aligned with the rest of the holes in the house, which is 37 inches on center from the ground. Set up, and then I have my attachment. So when I get to it, basically you drill half on this side and then half on that side, and then you're going to come through and drill your slider into there.
Goes in. Okay, now we have our jig set up again from Craftsman, and we are, hopefully you can see that, basically going to drill right through. Okay, there we go, we are through.
Next thing we need to do is attach our door handle and then put a latch on the other side. There you go. Final product before we put the door handle in. So if you ever were wondering if a jig is worth it, it's definitely worth it. So on this door, we are gonna pop this off, and we're just gonna put the hole, this hole without the opening, and we're gonna put a latch right here. So when the door is closed, this one is gonna be fixed, and this one will latch into it. Last thing we do before we put the doorknob in is we have to inset the latch. So there's a template that came with my kit, and basically turns your drill kind of into a mini router, and you're gonna drill around this area, and then you chip out a little bit, and then you can add your latch. Okay, we got that skived out. We're gonna screw it in. Make sure your latch is going the right way. Don't over screw this in, don't strip it out, don't ram it into the wood. There's no need to do that, just get it snug. And again, make sure your lock is on the inside and your safety opening is on the outside. Here we go. I'm going to screw it in, but that's it. Now I'm going to be painting this door, so I'm going to take this off. And okay, the doors are up. We're going to go ahead and paint them. So before we paint them, we want to check for any dents or scratches. In this case, there's a couple of missing splinters or whatnot. So I filled it with some wood filler. Same over here. Then I'm just going to hit it with some sandpaper just to make sure it's all clean. And then we'll go ahead and thing before we start painting is I put in this molding right here. It's kind of a gap hider, so when the doors are shut, it will close or hide in the gap between the two doors. So very simple. It was like $2.50 at Lowe's. Once we get it all caulked up and painted, you won't even see it. Okay, we got the doors all prepped, sanded, wood filled, so they're ready to be primed. First thing we're gonna do is put a primer coat on. I'm using the standard Bullseye 2 primer, which is a very, very light primer. It's a real simple primer. It's not for sealing out stains or smells. It's just to prep the wood surface to take the latex final coat paint. So let's get this going. This is a really, I want to say it's like a weak primer. Its purpose is just to prep the surface to get the new, the final coat latex paint, which is going to be a semi-gloss latex. Some people don't even think you need this coat, but I like to use it. I like the assurance that I'm going to have a really good bond between the door and my semi-gloss final coat paint. It also might save you one coat of paint, but typically with my doors, I actually like to put 3 coats of paint. I like to put 3 coats of paint on my final product doors just because they're touched so much that I want a really durable surface. So that's why I prime it and I'll put 3 coats of paint on it.